Thursday on Texas in Color, meet Masika Akilah Ray, candidate for U.S. Congress in Texas District 1. She's a mother, educator, and community leader running to bring heart, faith, and real change to East Texas. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Man, it's a beautiful morning we're having, and it's hot here in San Antonio. And I was listening to people on the East Coast and Midwest talking about how hot it is. I said, you ain't been to Texas.
Right.
That's not hot what y'all see right here. We would love that weather.
Exactly.
95 degrees, y'all running. Come down here when it's 100 plus degrees for 75 days in a row.
Right. And the sun is following you.
Yeah, the sun is following you. I have a guest right here. My friend Tammy introduced us to each other. Tammy's such a dear friend, and I started reading up on you and everything. Before we get going, introduce yourself, young lady.
Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Masika Akilah Ray. And one of the big reasons I'm here today is that I am running for United States Congress in Texas District 1. Let's see, what can I tell you about myself? I am a mother. I love my babies. And after COVID, we decided to get an animal. So now I love, love, love my fur babies. We have a toy poodle and a cat, and I have chickens and all that good stuff. So
Oh,
we just kept
wow.
adding and adding.
Mm.
Yeah, so one of the main things, I am a disciple of Christ. So that's one thing that I want to make sure that I put out there. And even though a lot of people may not believe, what they can trust and believe is that I am going to do what's best for them because my instructions come from on high. I am not concerned about what people think or what people say. Well, sometimes we feel that ouch, but my directions, I am concerned about pleasing God, not man. Because if I was concerned about pleasing man, I would not be a disciple of Christ. So that is how I follow, and I am here to serve like he has instructed me to serve.
Amen to that. Which brings to this question. What inspired you to run for U.S. Congress in Texas District 1 and why now?
Why now? Good question. What inspired me to run and why now? Well, what inspired me to actually run was when Vice President Harris lost. I believed in my heart that I had hoped that she was going to win, but God had other plans. And on January 20th, when it was Martin Luther King Day, and then on the other side, it was the inauguration for President Donald Trump. I could not do anything. And knowing what I had gone through, I am a mother, like I said, and kind of give you a backstory. Um, Back in 2019, not 2019, 2016 or so, um, not long after my husband had passed, he passed actually 2 days before our daughter's fifth birthday.
Mm.
And I was getting ready to build a house. I already worked on plans and different things like that. And I met up with this preacher who's a contractor. I saw him one day and he told me he built houses, and I trusted him to build my second house. Well, um, right at the very beginning, he started stealing money and all of that, and I ended up having to use my savings, all of my savings, to complete the house. And once it was finished, with all the bad feelings from it, we just could not stay there anymore. And there were some other reasons we just had to leave. Um, so thereafter, we stayed in an apartment. And my girls were not used to, well, not immediately thereafter, but a little bit after that, we stayed in an apartment, and my girls weren't used to living in an apartment. My daughters really hated it. We did not have a playground and all of those type things. But while I was trying to get my third home, um, I was delayed 3 times. And on that third delay, I thought that I was going to be denied and I just lost it. I was already having a hard time because I was bitter. And I want people to understand that even though you have a relationship with God, and I'm glad that I had my own relationship with him because like I said, it was a preacher who conned me. But I was very bitter and I had a nervous breakdown. And the day that I had that nervous breakdown, that everything was closing in, I had spanked my daughter. She got upset with me and lied and called 911. And the neighbor called 911 and the police came while I was taking out my valet trash. And they came up against me and threw me up against a wall. There was a lot of things that was not caught on my Ring video that I had at my apartment. They tore my C-section. They knocked me in the head. There was a bruise on my feet, bruises all different type of places. And they took me to jail and kept me in jail for 10 days. Even the police asked my then 10-year-old daughter for my passcode so they could get to my Ring videos. But thank God for the cloud.
Oh,
So they got that and they got my phone and they left me in there for 10 days. A lot of things happened while I was in there. And it was thankfully it was a nurse who came to my rescue. And I'm trying to look for my book that I have. I did write a book about it. Wrote this book, I Am Summoned to Testify, um,
oh,
regarding that. And also, I am taking them to the Supreme Court. We're in the Supreme Court now. So I have 2 books here detailing that situation. But to try to make a long story short, I was in there for 10 days. My brother and my realtor tried to get me out of jail. They would not allow them to, but it was a nurse who had mercy on me. And there was a lot that happened within there. God's hand was all over it because he protected me while
mm,
I was in there. And finally, this nurse helped me and she took me to the front and told the people to let her call anyone she wants to call and let her have as many phone calls as she need. And I was able to, by that grace, that love that that nurse had on me, um, I was able to get out of there. But I had to fight. When I got out, I had to fight CPS to get my kids back. I hired an attorney. The attorney acted like he was working for CPS and for the judge or some corrupt system behind the scenes. So I fired him. Um, and I represented myself in court and won. It took a
mm.
while. I went through hell and high water, but I won. And I'm telling you, God led me through the entire scene. He talked to me, He showed me, He gave me strategy, all these things that happened. And after that situation, I developed a company, My Children Are Not Your Toys. And that was to help others, families who were victims of CPS and so forth. But after that situation happened to me in 2022, 2024 is when I wrote this book. And then now my case is in the Supreme Court. Um, with both of those and my experience and all the encompass, even before having been discriminated against, but it was that situation right there that said, Masika, this is happening to a lot of people, and before I thought my education, I thought that if I had, certain things, if I had checked certain boxes, that it would prevent me from going, uh, forget, excuse me, prevent me from experiencing many of the things that other people experience. But it did not. It did not protect me. So it doesn't matter who you are. But now that I am practicing humility strongly, and I have a deep, deep passion for service, for serving others. Um, on January 20th, I had, even before that, I had asked the Lord to enlarge my territory. And I thought that He was going to enlarge my territory with My Children Are Not Your Toys, because CPS corruption is happening, and injustice is happening in the UK, it's happening in Canada, it's happening everywhere. So, but on January 20th, the Lord made it plain to me that for me to run for Congress. And I had even written Nathaniel Moran, the one who's holding the seat now. I wrote him about the situation that happened to me, and he sent me a generic letter. So I know by receiving that generic letter and everything that I've gone through, I said, no, the people need a voice. The people need someone who is going to fight for them, who know their struggle.
Mm.
And I'm vested. It's personal. It's personal, not so much to where it's just personal to me. It's personal because I believe it is my purpose. I am a servant. I am a servant of Christ first. And second, I want to be a servant for the people.
Wow. Man, I like that story. I'll talk to you later about getting that book because I like reading.
Thank you.
Um, you've been a teacher, an author, and a mother. How have those roles shaped your political values and your leadership style?
Well, being a mother, even though children, and this is how what I believe. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I know that's not for everybody, but it's my guide to where I am doing my best to mold them. Not always in the past because I wasn't where I am now, but now I am molding them by example. I am molding them by telling them the truth and telling them what I can do and can't do. I can't make any promises, just like I'm not going to make any vain promises to the people. It is important to tell the people the truth because, just like with my children, I don't want the people to be disappointed. I don't want my children to be disappointed. So I am a steward over them. When I was in the classroom, I was a steward over the children who were in my classroom. I even had a situation where one little child, she was acting fast,
Mhm.
and she was in third grade, and I talked to the mother about it. I'm one of those type of people that I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not, because
Yeah.
I believe that in truth there's love. So I told her mother, and her mother got upset with me. And I was really pregnant at the time, and I was having some issues and all of that. But 2 weeks later, around that time, I was getting ready to go on leave because I was having complications with my second child. And the mother came rushing in with so many gifts. And she said, I heard a conversation that my daughter was having, and she didn't know I was listening. It confirmed everything you told me.
Wow.
And yes, yes. And she just loved on me and she cried and she had so many gifts. If I wasn't on my way out the door from that teaching job, I wouldn't have been able to accept those gifts because you can only accept a certain amount. But I
Yeah.
said, I'm leaving. I've already given my, let them know that I'm leaving. So it was amazing. And to this day, she's grown now. The girl is grown. Well, she's the woman now. And she has a son and she's in a loving relationship. And every time it comes around, she tells that I am her favorite teacher. And that was when from third grade. So the
Good.
truth matters.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I believe in the truth. I stand on the truth. I don't want I think it's I don't understand how a liar can lie because it's going to come back and catch you.
Yes.
So with that said, I am going to lead like everyone. When I become Congresswoman, I will be steward of those people. I will be placed as a steward over those people. I am to serve them. I am to love them. I am to work hard for them and do my best for them. So that is what I believe. That is what I believe, and that's not going to change.
Okay, let's switch gears and let's talk about the community and some policies.
Sure.
Um, what are the most urgent issues facing East Texas, and how do you plan to address them in Congress?
Right now, I believe that we're headed towards a famine. I really do. I believe it because it's in the word first, and I believe it secondly because I can see the makings of it. And I am one of the things I want to do is write a bill and put it in a hopper that for $1,000 for every household to be given around the end of March. And that is the planting season. It will be used hopefully for gardening, for hunting, for fishing supplies, for all those things that you need, to help us yearly to stock up because the government wants to help businesses, but we have to remember that we need to help the people and we
Right.
need to help the people survive in what is coming. We need to be forward thinking. And I am going in there to help the people. That is one of the main things that I am passionate about. And I've even asked the churches and every household to start a garden now, because a famine is coming. Another things that I am, some of the things that I'm very passionate about, I would like for police reform. I do believe that it definitely needs some reforming with everything that has happened. Economic justice. Um, like I said, everything right now is for the big businesses and all of this inflation and so forth. I believe they are price hiking. So economic justice, healthcare access. There's several that are in very rural areas like Mount Vernon, Texas. They don't have emergency care or anything. They have to drive even to Mount Pleasant or different places. There should be some type of clinic in the small cities to where if there is an emergency, they can at least go to that clinic and then be transported elsewhere if needed. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. I have a child who has autism, so I know firsthand the importance and the need for Social Security and Medicaid, those type things. Compassionate immigration reform, because right now we know what they are doing is wrong. Many of those people are trying their best to become legal. And right while they're going to court, right while they're um, following our rules to become legal, they are being persecuted because at that moment, right in between, they're trying to get them before they become legal. So we need to I want to bring compassion. I want to bring love. I want to bring all of the fruit of the spirit. I want to do my best um, to look at everything that's on all of the laws, and to see how we can change it to where it works for the people. Right now it's crucifying those who are poor. It's
Mm.
persecuting those who um, are not a white billionaire. We are a diverse country, and we all need each other to work together. All of us bring something to the table, and we need each other. So those are the things that I'm compassionate about regarding policy.
Okay. So you touched base on healthcare. How would you improve access to affordable healthcare for the rural and underserved communities in your district?
One of the main things I believe that we need that big, beautiful bill, that's out there, I'm hoping and praying that it will not pass. As far as the rural areas, one thing I would like to do is to work with the state and local um, officials. And what we need to do is, I see all this protesting and I see all of what they have going on, but it needs to be focused on someone focused on the governor regarding rural health care and as far as um, giving those funds to the rural areas so we can have um, access to healthcare in those rural areas. So much of that is state and local, but I would love to work with state and local officials and working on that.
Okay. I talk to everybody, and I let everybody know that we got to get back to the village because
Exactly.
no matter what's going on in Washington, even though that it concerns us, but it don't concern us. And the reason why I'm saying that is we need to focus on locally. What can we do to help each other out? Because it was a time, I remember this. I did something down the street before I got home. My mom knew about it already. They had that high
Right,
technology back then, not like we have it right now, but they knew what was going on. So that means people in your area, in your village cared about you. They knew who
right,
you
right.
were, and you stepped out of line, they knew about it right away. So I'm telling
Hmm.
everybody, let's let them go through what they're going through. Let's work around locally. How can we help each other out? And I think a lot of people
Exactly.
are missing that point right there because they think that oh well, I'm not gonna do enough for them because they wouldn't do it for me. It's not about that. I said this on my show earlier. I said we're not competing against you. We want to compete everybody. And so, and
Right,
that's the problem. We're too busy competing on what we're going to get when there's a piece of the pie out there for everybody. You
right.
know?
And I'm glad you said that. And that is one of the main reasons why I do want to work with state and local. I see the current congressman for Texas District 1, he's going to business, to business, to business, to business, but he's not going really directly to the people. And the people are telling him what they want and what they need. I would like to have a lot of town halls and really just a not so much as a town hall where it's me telling them, but it's we're in a circle, so to speak, to
Mhm.
where we're telling each other and listening to each other what we need. With myself working with state and local, I believe together we are stronger. We are definitely stronger together. And not just, I don't want to just work with the Democrats. I want to work with Republicans. I want to work with independents and the Green Party and so forth. I believe that this is a bipartisan issue. I don't understand how you can go to Washington and feel like, oh, I've made it, and you can turn your back on the people. You cannot turn your back on the people. You're not supposed to. I don't understand how some of them are so beholden to one man when they're not thinking about the people that they are supposed to serve.
Yeah. So, which brings to this question. That's a good segue. I like that. Well, the segue. How do you plan to bridge the gap between everyday citizens and Washington politics?
I'm glad you asked that. Right now, I wish I had a flyer up here. Right now, I am going to have a multicultural festival in every, um, well, not in every, I thought I was going to try to go to all 17 counties, but some of the counties are real small and they don't have a community center or a large building. So I am combining some of them. For example, on October 5th, we're going to have a multicultural fellowship festival. It is bipartisan. I will be talking about hope and unity, and I will be talking to the people there. I'm bringing in small businesses, and actually, the small businesses, the vendors, they'll be able to come in with their booths for free. It's kind of like a pop up. We'll have multicultural entertainment, multicultural vendors, um, and I want us to all come together and fellowship with each other to see that we have more alike than we have different. Let's talk about some things. Um, and just build from that, and from those grassroots um, interchanges. I believe that once I get into Congress, we'll continue to have something where we're all coming together, both Republican, Democrat, all parties, all races, all cultures, all religions, you know, that we can come together and say, this is our basic needs. This is what we need. Um, and and just build from that. I come from a place from passion. I come from a place of humility. I am not I'm not a polished politician. I'm really not a politician at all. And even when I get in there, I will be a servant. And that is how I will lead, with servant leadership.
Okay. Running for office is demanding. Who keeps you grounded and focused through this process?
Well, I'm going to bring it back to God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and definitely my children. My children, because every day they know what I'm fighting for. What we went through, what I went through, we went through.
Mhm.
And I talk to my children about a lot of things, and I give them the raw, real version of it. I don't sugarcoat, because the world is not going to sugarcoat. So I tell them, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, this is why I'm doing it, and they already know why I'm doing it. My girls are very invested in it. They go to, in fact, this weekend we're going to go to a Beto, um, where he's going to speak in Tyler. The girls going with me. So I want them to have a spirit of service and knowing that what you do affects others. So they really keep me grounded, because I know when I look at my family, I'm thinking about other people's families, and I'm knowing that I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm not just doing it for my family. I see what they go through. And like I said, my oldest, she has autism. My youngest, she has some issues of her own, she ADHD and stuff like that. And she's a busybody, and all types of things that they need, and my compassion for others will carry me through. It will continue to carry me through, because it starts at home.
Yes, I heard that a lot. All right, second to the last question. What advice will you give young mothers? No, I'm talking about young women, especially mothers, who want to become more active in the political world.
Bring your children. Bring your children. It is a family affair. My father, Larry Hargraves, he wrote a paper, and he was awarded by LBJ and Jesse Jackson, President LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, and Jesse Jackson. And that paper was about civil rights. And he won first place. And my dad taught me about civil rights. Uh, there's a lot of things that he taught me that I thought he was just blowing smoke. And then when I
Yeah.
became an adult, I understood what he was talking about. Had it not been for my heavenly father and my earthly father, I would not have been able to live through that situation that I went through in 2022, and I would not have been able to fight through that situation that I went through 2022. It was my dad who taught me about civil rights and what I needed to do. It was him that instilled that fighter in me. And that is the same thing I want to do for my children
Oh,
and families, all of them, instill in their children, you are to fight for what's right. You are to continue to fight for what is right.
okay. I love that answer. All right.
Thank you.
Last question of all. How can people get a hold of you? How can they donate to your campaign? And basically tell everybody what they need to know about getting a hold of you and talking to you. And if you're ever in San Antonio, I never mind. We'll talk about that later. But let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
Sure. Thank you for asking. Go to www.MasikaAkilahRay.com. Just a second. Let me get that so they
Okay.
can see it. That is my website. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. They can go to this website,
Hold,
Masika Ray,
hold it up a
Masika
little bit
Akilah
higher.
Ray.
Hold up a little higher.
Huh?
Hold up a little higher.
Higher?
So there you go, right there.
All right. They can go to that website, www.masikaakilahray.com. To donate, they can hit that donate button and it'll go to my Act Blue account. And I hope that they read all of my, I am a writer, so I wrote a lot. I wrote a lot. I'm still working on it, kind of getting some kinks out and look at things. I should have said that better and so forth.
Yeah.
So I like to say that I'm not perfect. I want to always say, and I want the children to know that, you don't have to be perfect to jump in. You just have to jump in and fight and do your best. So I'm always working. Another thing I want to add, if that's okay, is that
Sure.
I want to get advice from wise counsel. It is very, very important. Those who I see um, who really have a heart for the people and they are working and they have been working for years. I look at the civil rights movement and all of those. Many of those people are still in the game, and they're still working and helping other people, and oftentimes putting people above themselves. And I want to learn from them. I want to learn about, what matters to them and how we can improve together, like the John Lewis bill that he had that has still not been passed, and, different things like that that we need, I want to seek wise counsel. And that is one thing. I don't want people to think that I'm a know it all. I want to learn from the constituents and I want to learn from those who have been in the game.
One thing I tell everybody need to learn to do that your local election office need your help.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
need your help. Me, myself, I passed my recertification test for election judge again. So
Okay.
I'll be doing that again. And what got me into that was
Excellent.
I wanted to see how the election ran. And
Right.
and I found out that over the years, the lies they're disputing it's not it's lies.
Right.
There's no way you could tamper with it. I've seen everything, and so I advise anybody if you it's only well Texas have an election every 2 years. So make sure you get out there, whether you are a clerk, a judge, or a presiding judge, or alternate judge. Get out there and just get out there. Because a lot of people say, "Thank you for your service," and to me, I feel like, what? What did I do? I'm just here. But
You're doing your part, what you're supposed to do.
and we need it. Well, yeah, but we need a lot more people out there doing that.
Right.
A lot of people of our skin tone need to get out there and start doing that. Quit questioning what's going on and get out there and see how it's done. There's
Amen.
training, there's everything out there. And once you learn how the system is, you understand it much better, and you can tell everybody else about it. Because when I'm bowling, oh, they be picking my brain. What about this? What about this? You can't do this. Well, why not? Because you can't. You know, but it's something. It's educational because
Right.
that test is not a 5 minute test.
Hmm.
I'll tell you that right now. It's more like hour, 2 hour test. Maybe longer than that if you stumped on the question. You got to do research. So they give everything to you to look up. But I'm saying that everybody should be involved in some type of manner. Whether you drive
Right.
people to the polling place, whether you're a clerk, whatever, we should all should get involved.
I
And,
agree.
and don't sit there and talk about, well, I didn't vote because of this. I want to say so bad. Don't y'all get me wrong. I want to say so bad. Well, you're an idiot.
Hmm.
That's what I want to tell them. You're gonna sit there and tell me the reason why you're not gonna vote. What is the
Right.
reason why you are gonna vote?
Right.
Oh,
I'm glad you said that people who look like us need to get more involved.
mhm.
And I've even been to people who look like us who are very successful, but they don't want to get involved and reach back, and that's one of the things that's disheartening. All of it is disheartening. And
Yeah.
I say that, you know better. You know better. If you don't know better, you need to ask one of your elders and they will tell you better because the fight is real and history repeats itself. And if you're not educated and if you're not in the game and if you're not in the fight, you will be affected. And when you're affected, you won't know what to do. And
Hmm.
when just it's a snowball effect. So you need to make sure that you're armed for the battle. because the
I,
war is coming.
yeah, I always tell everybody to ask your elder now before they become an ancestor.
I like that. I like that.
That's what they need to do. Because I
I
had
like
a
that.
conversation with my grandson. He's home for college, and I put him to work. And we start talking. I've been telling him everything. He said, "Well, nobody never put it to me like that." I said, "Well, maybe they have, but you just weren't listening."
Right.
And that's what I look at because we got to reach these young people in a new way of technology, not the old way, because they're only going to watch TikTok and all this stuff. So we got to get to them.
Yeah.
The other party already started doing that.
True.
They're ahead of the curve. So we
Right.
got to get ahead of that curve because new technology is coming out every day. In order to meet the young black kids or black students, we got to let them know what's going on.
Hmm.
And technology is our way of doing that. And so we not. I'm sorry, I'm getting on my
Oh,
soapbox.
I'm listening. I believe me.
Because I
I
mean,
agree.
that's the only way we're gonna get to them. Now, like you said,
Right.
if you get to one, when I was teaching, you probably know that being a teacher too. I was one once, and I was always told if you reach one student, you did your job.
Hmm.
And so I want to reach one student, and that student reach another one, and another one, and another one. So
Right.
that we got to have that snowball effect, something that pique their
Right.
curiosity and let them know. Because I tell everybody right now, I say you're voting today, but it affects the future. So
Yeah.
don't look at the thing gonna change after they vote. It takes time, and people are
Right.
so impatient nowadays. They want a microwave society, but it takes time. When you vote today, you vote for the future for tomorrow.
Right. And you're right. We have to meet them where they are. And where they are now is technology.
Yes.
It's true.
See, here I am going on. I'm passionate about that. I
I
get caught
understand.
up.
I
Well,
understand. It's an uphill battle. And
yeah,
that's why we need to be strategic even in our protesting, like I said, maybe some people are protesting towards that issue. We need to get in subcategories and we need to hone in on the subjects and on the people who are over it, and
yeah,
so forth, and teach. I think we need more teachers. We need more teachers
yes,
in the game because pretty much we know how to, here's the bulletin point, this is what we need to do.
right.
And like I said, I am shy in a way, but when in the classroom, I'm not. I'm an introvert everywhere else, but in the classroom, I'm an extrovert, So
Okay.
things like this, injustice and all injustice all in all areas, whether it's healthcare, whether it's due process, whether it's them taking away our benefits, all of that is a form of injustice. And when you're passionate about something, it raises your voice. It
Yes.
raises my voice. So the
Mm,
people need to understand how it infects them personally, you know,
yes.
impacts them personally, so that way they can understand. Some people learn by seeing, some people learn by feeling and touching and so forth. Well, if you don't eat, you're gonna feel that.
Yeah, you
So
definitely are. But you know what? I'd love to have you back on because I'm
yeah.
just at the tip of the iceberg on things I want to say. You
Okay.
know, I'm just there because one thing I told somebody, we're sitting at a round table one time, and I don't know why they invited me to the round table. I'm like you, sometimes I don't, so I just sit there and just listen. But
Hmm.
I listen in a way that once it comes to a chance for me to talk, I respond.
Right.
I don't go off on my I respond. And one thing I responded to, I said, let them go ahead and do what they're doing and let the American people see how this is going to play out. Now, they played on our fears, they played all this, they smiling right now. But if you turn around, you could turn that play against them the way things are going. And you see how things ended up. Not only it's going to hurt the minority, it's going to hurt the majority too.
Right.
And once you see that going on and you get these two together, say, see, this is what happened. This is what we got to do. Who's going to fix this mess?
Hmm.
And that's what we got to focus on right now. Let them go ahead and think they're doing things right now, even though we know it's wrong, even though the professionals say we're gonna hit a recession, it's gonna be rough. And,
Right,
and once all that take place, it's not the time to say I told you so. It's the time to regroup and come back at them, beat them at
right,
their own game. That's just my
right,
opinion.
right. And tell them, we understand that you were lied to, and I have compassion for that. I've been lied to. I was conned by that preacher contractor and all of that stuff, and
Mm,
look how it affected me. So when you have those personal issues and you see how, like you said, how it affects you, okay, I'm not going to continue to beat myself up for believing that the preacher contractor was good. I am going to learn from my mistakes, do my due process, my due diligence, do my due diligence, and plan better later on down the road. And that type of
mhm.
thing. So that's what you have to do. You have to learn from your mistakes, and we cannot beat the Republicans up from their mistake. We need to tell them, yeah, we understand that you were lied to. And many of the what I don't like how a lot of how should I say this? There's a lot of Congress people who are, well, that. All of that is not getting anywhere, and stop yelling at them and start back talking to the people and talk to the people and tell them just that. We understand you were lied to. Okay, now it's time to correct and get on board and get on the right board. You see who lied to you. Now you know who won't lie to you. Let's get on the right track so we can move forward because we're moving backwards right now.
Yes, we
We
are.
need to move forward.
Ooh, boy. Yes. All right. We're gonna cut it right there because we keep on and on. 'Cause I'm just chomping at the bits. That's why I want to get you back on. So the election for you for what you're running on in Congress, that's in 26, right?
Yes, first we have a primary. There
Okay.
are a couple of people who are running against me, and Democrats. Um, so we're first I have to win the primary. And I'm telling you, I hope that your voters, I mean not your voters, but your viewers will please help me, because here in East Texas, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but here in East Texas, it's hard to get donors. Some of my donors are from out of state, you know,
Hmm.
um, and different ones, and I don't have a lot of money. I am putting a lot of my money into this. I'm a
Yeah.
single mother with two children, and all of that. But I believe that I can help make positive change. And I believe because I stand on the truth and I stand on love, that the people will know that and the people will feel that. And hopefully they will support me so I can really uplift their causes and what they need and impact their households and their families and the communities and our nation and the world because it starts with the light. And I believe that I am the light to make the change.
Well, I tell
So
you what.
I hope they donate.
Okay. So
I need
so
their
what
support.
any rallies you have coming up, please let me know. Because I might make a trip up there and broadcast a show live.
Oh, that would be awesome because we are going to have like I said, the Multicultural Fellowship Festival.
Hmm.
That's going to kick off, and I am highlighting two counties. That's Russ County and Harrison County.
Okay.
And another one I'm going to have in Mount Pleasant, Texas. That would be great for you to come to. I'm highlighting several counties with that one because they have a lot of small counties around. So Mount
Yeah.
Pleasant, Franklin County, Morris County, Count County, um, and not Marion County. There's another county, I believe, but those are very small counties. So I'm trying to pull them all to Titus County
Yeah.
and do the same thing with the Multicultural Fellowship Festival. So it would be great if you would be able to do that, one of those. And the second one is going to be November 30th. They're going to all be on Sundays because I don't
Okay.
want to interfere with a lot of things that they have going on. So it's from 2 to 7 p.m. 2 to
Okay.
7.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. In the email, I'll send you my phone number, and we can
Okay.
sit down. We can strategize some stuff and see what we can make happen up there. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Appreciate you coming on, taking time out your busy schedule and
Thank
everything.
you.
But you know what? You be all right. I just got that
Thank
feeling
you.
you're gonna be all right.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. You take care.
You too.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Catch Texas in Color every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.